Hi, welcome to Echoes and Edges, the Broken and Beautiful podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Patria, the founder of The Broken and Beautiful. I'm a story and Enneagram coach, and I love to help people weave parts of themselves back together, gently, with skill. Part of being skilled means having many tools in the toolbox of care. I have many, from Allender training to Enneagram training and a whole bunch in between. Far and away, though, one of the most useful tools that I have found is the Enneagram. Why? Because the Enneagram is set up to provide not only information, but pathways for transformation. It's not complicated. It's not easy, but it's not complicated, and it provides a simple way of recognizing why reactivity shows up when and how it does for us. So we're offering you a series on the 9 types, short, simple, and to the point, to help you get started using the Enneagram in a practical way. On today's episode, we'll be talking about Type Ones. So the Type 1 is called the reformer, or the perfectionist, or what's another name that we've talked about? The improver. Yep. And the defense for this type is tightening. And this is a physical tightening, actually. It starts in the gut for Type 1. It's unconscious. This is an unconscious experience. Even though I'm not a Type 9, I have a wing. On one side, I am adjacent to the Type 1. And as an example of this, I just walked out to our reception area at the office to go to the restroom, and one of my colleagues put up a Christmas tree in the lobby, and it's not right. It's not right. Sorry, Janet, it's not right. And she's so used to me noticing this stuff. It's very one-like at times. And so I immediately tighten, and then I'm like, because I'm a Type 9, I don't lead with Type 1, I can let it go and move on. But Type 1s have to correct it, right? They contract, they have to correct the issue. They have an internal pressure that will not release until that correction is made. And they really are doing this because everything in them is avoiding wrongness. So what have you observed with Type 1s, and how have you seen them showing up under stress, and how might they show up at the holidays?
When I talk to ones, a lot of times in their childhood there was chaos. Mm-hmm. And there was something about they needed order to calm the chaos. And so I think about like a child, that a lot of times they start in their bedroom. And they organize, and that's kind of like their safe haven. And then if they don't know, then that need for control or order just starts spreading out of their little bedroom into other areas of their life. And so for like a 1, say they're cleaning the kitchen. And they are cleaning hard and they're scrubbing and nobody's kind of coming in to help. Well, sometimes they've come to help, but they didn't load the dishwasher correctly. Or they didn't quite put things away the way they're supposed to. And a 1 just thinks they're improving, but other people can take that as criticism. So sometimes 1s can... I think in the kitchen and cleaning up can feel kind of isolated and then have that deep resentment, but they don't understand. People just want to put things in the dishwasher. It's, there's not a science to it, but there is to a 1.
Yes.
I think it sounds like a silly example, but it really is what ends up bringing a struggle for a 1, which is resentment too.
Oh, so true. I'm so glad you brought that word up because a lot of times type ones don't identify as being in the anger triad, right, which is the body triad. And type ones will say, I'm not angry. But then if we talk about resentment or disappointment or frustration, then they can really relate to that because it's kind of constant. There's a constant sense of this isn't right and that's not right and this needs to be better. And I think one of the things I would want listeners to know is that type ones are hardest on themselves. So any perceived criticism that's coming out really is intended to help. It is a deep driver to try to make the world right or to right the world. And it can be important just to recognize that and to see that if they're being critical, if you have a beloved one in your life and you're feeling criticized a lot, it can be helpful to recognize the inner critic is probably driving them pretty hard. And so along those lines, Ro, what would you say happens when grace interrupts the inner critic instead of fueling it?
Oh, and that's the beautiful grace work for a one, because that grace is really hard for them to receive. And once they understand that voice has been there since the very beginning.
Yeah.
It was very much a part of them. But what I tell my clients is when you feel that attack toward yourself, pay attention to the negativity that is coming towards you.
Yeah.
Because that's what eventually is coming toward other people.
Yes.
Yes. And I think when people have a one in their life, if they could understand that, and this is where the Enneagram, it's compassion.
Yes.
You just kind of can go in and not say, what's wrong with you? But say, what can I do to help? Do you need a hug?
Yeah.
I just had a client the other day. She's learned to ask her husband for a hug. And that's
beautiful.
And that's a way to help her ground herself, to calm it down. Yeah. So then she could speak her need without the negative tone to it.
I really love that you brought that up, and I want to add just a couple things before we move on from type 1, because I think this idea of containment, so bringing just a little bit of the threads of story work into this and talking about the experience of containment in relationship, that ones are in the body triad. Body triad needs containment. Everybody needs containment, but the way that the body triad needs containment can often be very physical like that. And I have heard type ones multiple times say that very thing. So it's interesting that you brought that up, that hugs are the very thing that can shift the inner critic to more of a coach. It softens. It's anecdotal in my experience, but it does feel like that need for containment might be part of what drives the criticism. Because when you talk about being born into chaos and bringing order into the world, they feel like they're the biggest order bringer in their world. Mm-hmm. And that's not very containing, right? So we all need to experience something bigger than us. And for ones, I think it's a physical experience a lot of times to just get a nice tight hug. Now, if you're a one that doesn't like to be touched, you can talk about that. And I also want to just mention that the dishwasher reference gets used a lot for type ones. If you are a type one and you don't resonate with that need, that's okay. You might not, but there's some other way that sort of need for order and perfection is showing up for you. And just be noticing that over this holiday season. If this episode resonates with you, follow or subscribe to Echoes and Edges on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a 5-star review and share with a friend who might need a gentle invitation to self-understanding. Echoes and Edges is produced and edited by Stephen R. Sanders. Music promoted by Envato. Echoes and Edges is part of the VividLivid Podcast Network, where bruises speak and healing finds its voice.